Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 19th, 2025, and Joan Laporta has responded to Javier Tebas. Also, Barcelona have had a new influx of cash from another move of a player that they own rights in. And finally, full agreement with Nico Williams. I'm going to tell you what the agreement is, and of course, how will Barcelona attempt to register the player under their financial fair play. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and today we're going to be talking about Joan Laporta's statements because the Barcelona president has responded to Javier Tebas. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I talked about this in a previous video where Javier Tebas once again criticized Barcelona's finances, saying, hey, it's great that they paid the release clause of Joan Garcia, but, it's not about paying the release clause. It's how they're going to register them because they're not under the 1-1 rule. And he was also asked about Nico Williams, and he said, look, I don't know if they're going to be able to pay the release clause or not, but again, how are they going to register him? So this was Laporta's response to La Liga's president. We are within the 1-1 rule. The fact of having positive results and the reduction of the payroll brought us to the 1-1. It is what allowed us to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. And now we are in that bracket. Arriving at the semifinals of the Champions League has driven us to this. We are not perfect, but with us, Barca wins. We do not want any other administration to suffer what we have suffered economically. You can see what we are doing. So Laporta responded to Javier Tebas by saying, yes, we are under the 1-1 rule. And in fact, that's how we were able to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. And of course, to that I say, no, we're not under the 1-1 rule. Hopefully we will be starting July 1st, which is when the new fiscal year begins. But right now, we are not under the 1-1 rule. This is not a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of debate. You either are or you're not. And right now, we are not. And then Laporta saying that, the proof is that we were under the 1-1 rule is because that's how we were able to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, which, again, that's not how we were able to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. We were able to register him because we had to go to court, fight a case, and then the court said, Barcelona is right. They can register the players because the rule that prevented Barcelona from registering a same player twice in the same season was not clear enough. So I'm not sure what this response is. Again, pointing at the great things that Laporta and his board of directors have done. That was the right way to go about it. But then to say we're under the 1-1 rule, blah, 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 there's no need for that. It's a lie. Just stick to the facts. You reduced the payroll. You brought in a lot of sponsorships. You've increased the revenue of the club. You've gotten rid of a lot of the contracts, the old, big, inflated contracts of the players. The team is doing well. So, of course, TV rights, awards from championships, ticketing, merchandising, all that is up. Just focus on that. No need to, lie about whether we are or aren't under the 1-1 rule because, again, we are not. Now, speaking of the 1-1 rule, that is going to be important because we're going to be talking about how we're going to register Nico Williams. But first, let's talk about another bit of news, which also is important for Nico Williams. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Ludvik Race has officially joined Bruges. Now, you might say, who the hell is Ludvik Race? Don't worry, I said the same exact thing, and I've been following Barcelona for a very long time. But Ludvik Race is a Dutch midfielder from Slovak background. He joined Barcelona back in 2019, and he arrived kind of under a lot of fanfare. He was supposed to be like this, big deal midfielder. He played only one season with Barca Athletic. Back then, it was called Barca B, and that was the 2019-2020 season. And after one season, it turns out that, the hype was just that, just hype. So Ludvik Race ended up leaving the club. He went to I think it was Hamburg, if I'm not mistaken. There, he became a key figure. In fact, he helped them get promoted to the Bundesliga. And now, at 25 years old, he's making a move to Bruges. And Bruges have paid Hamburg 6 million euros. And you might say, Mo, why do we care? Well, we care because Barcelona own 25% of the rights of the players. So Barcelona will get 1.5 million euros for the sale of Ludvik Race from Hamburg to Bruges. And again, another deal where Barcelona makes some money without having to lift a single finger. Now, I said this is connected to Nico Williams, and yes, it is. So let's move on to the Nico Williams news because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have officially reached an agreement with the player for him to join Barcelona. Now, as I reported yesterday, after Nico Williams expressed his willingness to come to Barcelona and his willingness to accept whatever terms Barcelona offered him, Deco flew to Ibiza yesterday, where he met with Nico Williams in order to negotiate his personal terms. As I reported in yesterday's podcast, Barcelona were very, very close to reaching an agreement. And while today it was reported that the agreement was indeed reached, and Nico Williams has agreed now to join Barcelona for 6 years until 2031. So a 6-year contract where he's going to be making around 7 to 8 million euros net. And this is huge because Athletic Club de Bilbao right now are offering him a 10 million euro per season net salary. So he will be earning less than what at Barcelona than what he would be earning at Athletic Club de Bilbao. And of course, he would be earning much, much less had he left to the Premier League, Arsenal, Chelsea, or to the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, which he already, by the way, has rejected all those offers because, again, his only intention is to come to Barcelona. And now, having agreed to the terms, it's closer and closer from happening. Now, of course, a big question is, will Barcelona be able to pay the release clause? It's a 58 million euro release clause plus 4 million euros, and like inflationary cost becomes 62. And while the club are reporting that, yes, they are confident that they're going to be able to pay that 62 million euros, whether it be from their own account or whether it be through a loan, they're confident they're going to be able to pay that release clause. Of course, there was talks about Barcelona trying to negotiate with Athletic Club de Bilbao paying the release clause in installments, and it's reported that Nico Williams has actually offered Barcelona to try to make that happen. As you know, Athletic Club de Bilbao are refusing to negotiate with Barcelona or anyone. If you want the player, pay his release clause. And Nico Williams even offered to Barcelona through the meeting that he had to, hey, if you want, I can put some pressure on them. I can make some statements, maybe bring them to the table. But of course, Barcelona said thank you, but no thank you. They don't want the player, getting in the middle of this. This is between clubs. No player should be getting involved, which I think is the right decision. But this is how much Nico Williams is willing to come to Barcelona. Not only did he approach Barcelona, he rejected all other offers, and he even said, I'm willing to accept whatever you offer me, and I'm even willing to help you negotiate with my former club. Now, of course, the third question now we know that the player has agreed to come. We know that Barcelona are confident they'll be able to pay the release clause. Now, of course, the final piece of the puzzle is, will Barcelona be able to register him? Because as you know, Barcelona are not under the one-to-one rule, despite what Joan Laporta said in his statements. And while it's reported that Barcelona do have some options. Now, as you know, Barcelona sold the rights to VIP seats for 100 million euros, which was rejected. It was not counted as income because those seats were not built. The seats are now built, so Barcelona are expected to use that 100 million euros to achieve or to help them get him closer to achieve the one-to-one rule. However, that's not going to be enough, as I reported on plenty other occasions. Besides the 100 million euros from the seats, Barcelona are going to need 40 million euros more. Now, where's Barcelona going to get that 40 million euros more to achieve the one-to-one rule? Well, there is the Barca Vision option that I told you about yesterday, which is selling the portion of Barca Vision that belonged to Libero, who failed to pay to a European investor. But there's other options too. The other option is, of course, players. Now, Barcelona have already made half of those 40 million euros from money that they got from players that they used to own, like, for example, Jean-Claire Todibo, Alex Valle, Elijah Moribo, Alex Collado, and Ludvik Race, which we just talked about. And, of course, there are other players who Barcelona are looking to release or transfer. They already got rid of Clément Lenglet. There's Ansu Fati, who should be on his way out to Monaco. There's Pau Victor, Pablo Torre, Iñaki Peña, Andreas Christensen, and of course, Mark ter Stegen if he eventually agrees to leave. So between all the exits that have already happened, the exits that Barcelona hope that will happen, and the players that Barcelona have made money off just because they went to other clubs and Barcelona owned the rights in, Barcelona think they will have enough to achieve the one-to-one rule and as such be able to register Nico Williams. Now, the goal right now is, of course, to finalize all of this before the preseason, which starts on July 13th. Hopefully we can. That way the player can start with Flick from day one and, of course, can avoid the uncomfortable situation of having to start the preseason with Athletic Club de Bilbao, only to then have to leave halfway through. All right, let's end this video with the news that Perisic, who offered himself to Barcelona, is reportedly now closer to agreeing to that contract extension that PSV Eindhoven offered him, because their preseason starts on June 30th. And of course, Perisic wants to be available for the preseason. He wants to be ready for the 2026 World Cup. And since Barcelona have not really shown any signs of interest, they're kind of like, he's not really a priority. They're just keeping him as a last-ditch effort, a kind of last emergency kind of deal. And even though Perisic is willing to wait, of course, he doesn't want to wait too long. He wants to start the preseason with someone. And since PSV Eindhoven's preseason starts at the end of this month, it's reported that Perisic is now closer to accepting the PSV Eindhoven's contract extension versus, continuing to wait for Barcelona, which, again, he was never a priority. So if he does, it's not really any kind of loss to the club. Anyways, that is all for this video. We'll be uploading another video shortly, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.